Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. I'm speechless. She thought she could just demand absurd crap and then bluff her way through everything with ramshackle proof? WTF. Come on, even a mushroom has more sense than that. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. You want it all for free? About 10 years ago, I had a metalworking project with 2.5-inch stainless steel tubing, and when it was done, I had several feet left, made a walkway rail guard and some other stuff, including some large garden arches with plant shelves for my wife. The wife posts them on Facebook, and random woman shows up wanting to borrow one for a wedding arch. We don't know her. She saw the pictures and contacted my wife about them, and my wife told her they were too big to move around, but she showed up anyway. First it's borrow, and I tell her they're too large for a pickup truck, and being stainless, they're quite heavy. Took a forklift to put them in place, and they're anchored to the ground. She says she can get someone to pick one up, and then wants me to get a forklift to load it. Nope, I have to cut it loose from its anchors and re-weld it when OT gets back. And I never intended to move it. I have to move large landscaping stone blocks just to get to it. She's not having any of it. She must have that arch or it'll ruin her baby's wedding. Then she wants me to paint it white. The point of stainless is you don't have to paint it, ever. And it's a pain in the butt to sand, prep, prime, paint, polish stainless. And afterwards, the stainless will need the sanding scratches polished out again, which I'm not about to do, so hard no. Begging, tears, accusations of permanently damaging her daughter, screaming. My wife tells her she can have one made, cost is about $4,400, and have it painted someplace else. But she doesn't want to pay for the arch. We're supposed to lend it, for free. Crazy lady goes dark for about 2 weeks. Then I get a call from my wife. Crazy lady's in the driveway with 2 other people, a pickup truck, which the arch won't fit into, and the county sheriff. She's holding a receipt for the arches, both, with a sale price of $200, which was obviously home printed. No business name, no business or home address, no signatures, and is expecting the deputy sheriff to enforce. Deputy lives about 2 miles up the road, and I've known him 30 years. Her family and friends are all arguing aggressively with my wife, the deputy's in between, and crazy ladies screaming. I told the deputy what had went on, then he talked to my wife while I held the entitled nut jobs off, and the deputy finally kicked them off the property with the help of 2 more deputies. The first had to call in for backup. I can't tell you how the wedding went, but it wasn't under my wife's arches. Nope, I'm not moving 4,000-pound stone blocks, tearing up my yard, getting a cutting torch to cut the arches loose, getting my fork truck from the shop out to my home and back again, and reversing the process to lend the arches to anyone. As a side note, she did give ideas to some friends. There have been 2 sets of wedding pictures under the arches, but the arches stayed right where I put them, and no crazy momzillas involved. And our second story. No sales for rude people. This story isn't mine, but from a friend/coworker that I had when we were both working at a big box electronics store. This particular coworker, let's call him Jack, is known for 2 things. Being knowledgeable about his area of expertise, he was specialized in selling phones for one particular carrier, being a rather grumpy person. I loved having Jack on the team. He was reliable, he knew his stuff, and he took crap from no one. So we're working in our department when I notice he's in a heated discussion with a customer. The customer was asking some questions, Jack answered, and the customer didn't like those answers. Jack is not the kind of customer service employee to change an answer or apologize just because a customer doesn't like what he said, so they argue for about 10 minutes. Turns out the customer was asking for about 5 of the newest iPhone to come out right after they had launched. Could be for a family, could be fraud. Jack wouldn't take a paper ID for something that could very easily come back to bite him in the butt. The customer left, angrily, to get their plastic ID and stopped to complain to a manager on the way out. Most of the management has learned to tolerate Jack and knows that if he argues with the customer, he's very likely in the right, so nothing bad happened to him. But this sets Jack off. He's mad that the customer decided to try and get him in trouble over the argument. Now, one thing you need to know about this big blue electronics store is we had really good deals on phones. Buy one, get one, gift cards, the works. So you really generally do want to get your phones there. Jack skips his lunch waiting for this customer to come back and goes around instructing every person in the phone department that if customer comes back, that he's going to take care of him. The customer comes back an hour later, beelines to me, and tries to start the transaction. With my best customer service smile, I lead them back to Jack as they're his customer. Their annoyance immediately shows on their face as they produce the same paper ID. Jack apologizes for the argument earlier and says he had a talk with the manager and will gladly take the paper ID. What? I've never once in the 2 years I've worked with Jack seen him apologize. He starts the transaction and gets most of the way through it, all the way to the end, taking his time, talking over all the features of the phone. He's with them a solid 45 minutes before he gets to the second to last screen before they can buy the phones. He then clicks one little checkbox that's going to ruin their day. See, remember how I mentioned we have to deal with fraud? Well, my company had a handy little tool for this, a checkbox that basically marks down that person's social and won't let it be run for any credit-related service through our stores for the next year or two. You hit that person is blacklisted, and it's damn near impossible to undo that. So Jack went out of his way to waste almost an hour of this person's time only to produce a screen that says, "Sorry, we can't sell you a phone for some reason. Better go to Carrier's corporate store." The customer starts shouting and getting angry again, accusing Jack of maliciously ruining the transaction. Well, I mean, he did, but they didn't know that. The customer leaves, then 20 minutes later, my department gets a call. The customer's at another location that we have, unable to get a phone. He's convinced that Jack is at fault. I inform him that we can't control what other stores do and wish him a nice rest of his day. Sounds like Jack is what happens when extremely intelligent people are pushed past the point of giving half a crap anymore. I love watching people like Jack get deliciously malicious. And our next story. Man refuses to believe I am the office lady, insists I don't work here. I'm an office manager at a church and an atheist because life is funny, and was sitting at my desk doing my thing when a guy from our pest control company comes in. Him. "Hi, I'm Freddie with Pest Control Company. I usually talk with, I can't remember her name, the older woman who works in this office." Me. "Hi, Freddie. I'm OP, the office manager. You probably spoke with me, actually." Him. "Nah, it was a few months ago. The office lady was much older. She let me into the kitchen." Me. "Well, I can let you into the kitchen. That's no problem. Here's my card." Hand him my office manager business card. Him. "Gosh, I can't seem to remember her name. She works here in the office." Me. "Well, I work here in the office, so you'll be stuck with me from now on." Him. "I always deal with the office lady. Will she be in today?" Me. "I'm in charge of the office, so I can take care of whatever." Him. "No, I need to talk to the office lady, the one who works here." He points at my desk. Me. "There is no other office lady. The only other woman who works here is the minister." Him. "But I always talk to the office lady, the older woman." Me. "Just leave your paperwork here. I'll make sure it gets to the right place." Him. "I'm supposed to leave it with staff." Me. "They pay me. I'm staff." Him. "Oh, they pay volunteers?" Me. I'll make sure the paperwork gets to the right place." Him. "Is she your mom or something? Is that why you're helping out?" Guys, I swear it was me. I've been here for years. It's my office. I'm the only one who works here. I'm the one who deals with vendors. I am the older woman he talked to. But by the end of this, he honestly had me doubting it. Eventually, he gave up and agreed to give me the paperwork to give to her when she comes in, and went to spray for bugs. I guess I'm officially an old woman, but can pass as a younger version of myself with my mask on? And our last story. Utility tree cutter threatened to come onto my property and cut down all those maples. Hi folks, we received a notice last week that the utility tree trimmers would be coming to our region and cut branches near the power lines. We are fine with that, and have had that done before for some ill cedars at our own expense. Last year when we moved into our house, which we own. Yesterday I heard them trimming trees and saw they had essentially cut down a tree on our property to a 3-foot stump. I went out to speak with the cutters and asked them to be more sensitive to the cutting, and that they left me with a near-dead tree I'll have to pay to remove and stump grind. This tree, about 7 feet tall, was more than 20 feet from any power line and was fully on my property. After him telling me he was just doing his job, I asked again for him not to do this to the other trees. He said, "If you don't watch out, I'll go and cut down all those maples," and pointed to a full grove of trees nowhere near a line and fully on our property. I told him that I found this to be a threat and asked him to not come onto our property. They eventually left and I filed a complaint with the power company. Their arborist is coming today to review the issue, and the manager from the tree trimming company is coming as well. I found this individual to be threatening, but does this constitute a crime or illegal activity? Can I forbid the tree company or this individual from coming onto my property if I feel threatened by his actions or words? And what about my poor sapling? It was a maple that I tended throughout the last year, and that was when we bought the property. Update. I wanted to update you on the meeting with the arborist and the manager from the tree trimming company. The three of us visited the tree, now a stump, in question, and I explained my perspective. The arborist attempted to defend the person who'd made the threat, but I pointed to the trees that the tree cutter had referenced, and he agreed they were not near power lines. He apologized for the incident, and I thanked him for his apology. He said that they were under contract with his tree trimmer for all services related to protecting power lines from tree falls and branches. I told both individuals that the threat made by the trimming company had made my family and I feel unsafe, and that he stated that because I did not know the individual who made the threat, that any employee of the tree company, a very large company here in New England, would be trespassing if they entered on my property for any reason. The arborist said that the trees would need trimming, and I said that they were more than welcome to identify a different company and meet with me before said trimming to discuss their plans. He verbally agreed to this. The tree company individual apologized for his employees' actions. I thanked them for meeting with me. I filed a formal complaint for stump grinding. I was reimbursed for the damage and paid for the stump grinding. So I'm kind of satisfied. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.